Welcome to the Select Board meeting for Monday, August 3rd. We'll call to order at 6:46 p.m. First item business, review and potential vote on agreements for designer regarding the elementary school roof and HVAC project with the MSBA. So we have that proposal from Ty and Bond.
Correct.
And Collier's already reviewed it, requested some changes, and this is the final form from that.
The only potential change that I don't have back yet, but I question them on, there's two sections that kind of contradict each other. One says that because we conducted an ADA self-audit 4 years ago,
Yes.
we won't need to do that in this scope. I wouldn't want to make that assumption and overlook an accessibility concern. So I shared with them our ADA audit from 22 and just asked that they not completely remove that task because the project will likely trigger that statutory requirement. So there's one potential slight modification because of that accessibility review.
And just undoing the contradiction somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
One section says it's not included, another section says they will do it.
They will do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have no concern.
I don't have any concerns. I do have a question, though,
Mhm.
and I know I'm late to everything. Why are we exploring geothermal?
We asked the same
Required.
question too.
Okay,
By
We are
that's all you have to
do-
say. That's fine. I just
do
wanted to make
all
sure.
options, to explore all options.
Okay, all right.
They have been told that we have experienced it, had failures nearby.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was really my concern is that
Right.
topography-wise, they're the same soils, and it didn't work here, so.
Yeah. we've been very clear.
You'll hear the word syllabus used a lot through this process. Obviously, MSBA is related to a school, so they think in those terms. The syllabus that they have issued on this heat pump conversion project, and we're in a inaugural grouping of schools going through this process. They haven't typically done this work in the past as a retrofit. They have required them to explore the potential for those options, and they have to answer the question. Doesn't mean you have to go with it as a town, but for MSBA to contribute to the process, we have to have at least explored what it would take and understand whether or not it's a viable option.
And the only other question I had is, the mini splits would be in addition to a secondary heating system, or it would be it? That wasn't clear in, that I could see.
I don't know either specifically. I do know that we had a conversation with them about wanting to replace our existing heating system, wanting to obviously replace the existing air handlers and make sure we had one unified functioning system. How that all looks in terms of equipment, that I'm not clear.
Okay, because my only concern down the road is that even with the new technology with mini splits, they don't handle a New England winter if it's bitterly cold, and they're not efficient in that respect. So I was just curious if this was, I saw that they were exploring it, and then a little further down they referred to the oil and all of that. So
Right.
it was more of a question since I wasn't here from the beginning. So I will make a motion to engage Ty and Bond Incorporated of Westfield, Mass. for professional designer services related to the Erving Elementary School Project ID 202500910030, potential roof replacement and heat pump conversion in an amount not to exceed $345,300, and to authorize Brian Smith, Town Administrator, to execute all necessary agreements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
I think the answer to your latter question will be defined as they go on what hybrid or,
Right.
backup systems may be needed to ensure that they can handle the cold.
Which is what we did with the library,
Right.
and they've actually utilized them, so.
Yep. They're getting better every year, but it's still cold here. Next item, business review of position descriptions for Assistant Chief Wastewater and Water Operator and for the Treatment Operator. Any discussion?
I have no concern.
I don't either.
Okay. Carrie for another read with 3. This is number 2. Or do we don't have to?
You don't have that rule for
Okay.
position descriptions, but we can carry.
That's up to both of you. If you're good, you're both good with it.
We're good.
I'm good with it.
I will entertain a motion to
I make
adopt as a. Good. Good.
I make a motion to accept the job description for Assistant Chief Wastewater and Water Operator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I make a motion to accept the job description for Treatment Operator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is review draft position description for Assistant Town Administrator and Personnel Coordinator. First draft. Any initial feedback?
I did have something.
Okay.
Let me look at my notes. I had a slight concern with the essential functions under the Assistant Town Administrator, question 7, onboarding and offboarding process.
Okay.
I would suggest that that we have a policy and procedure. I don't have any problems with the form of the job description. I just think we need a policy and procedure in the near future addressing question 7.
Agreed.
Specifically with offboarding and exit interviews. So I would like to see us develop something that addressed for all candidates coming on board and going and offboarding as well, that we have an outline on how that works and the questions and answers that we want for the applicant in both situations. So
Agreed.
Sounds like a good task to take on for that role. A good task for that role to
it
help
is.
divine. And I know we have some processes in place. I don't know if there's really one document, especially not inclusive of everything there.
Right.
But some of them to piece together. And
And it would be good to have consistency in the process
Right.
for onboarding and offboarding. And if we have a policy in place, the consistency will be there because they'll be following the
But
policy.
I don't see any need for it to happen before this position takes place, but that it's something that we work on afterwards.
Great. Makes sense. And onboarding is getting more and more complicated. There's more and more to it, so having that would be very helpful.
Right.
Any other comments or questions on it?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. What did we do with our what was our CPR and first aid policy? Or if it was a policy, but what we've been doing, is it public safety, public works, department heads? What's our standard been for that requirement?
To incorporate the requirement to have
In a
first
job
aid,
description, yeah, what jobs? How did we approach that? I don't remember.
it's by default in all of your first responders.
Yep,
So that's already there. You added it to all of your public works positions.
okay,
I don't know, we've been offering it to the rest of the general government employees.
but not mandating it for any of those.
It's not in the job description
Okay.
as a mandate,
Okay,
but we absolutely are providing it.
okay. I didn't recall where we kind of defined the boundaries of the required.
Right.
So.
That was something that you all started adding when Selectman Loing joined the board.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. I don't have anything else to add either. carry it for another read
Okay.
at next meeting.
Yep.
We have the third AP warrant for fiscal 2027. I'll make a motion to approve the third accounts payable warrant for fiscal 2027 in the aggregate amount of $303,028.29 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And with that, we cover everything except executive and interviews, I believe. So it's 6:57. I'm going to move us over to conduct final interviews for the Director of Information Technology position and review application materials, and also recuse myself at that time and leave it to the two of you
Okay.
to take that and the next item this evening, and then I'll return for executive.
So that, the interview is starting at 7?
Correct.
Is the candidate already here? I assume he is.
I do not see the candidate yet. I can check the hallway. Okay.
Jackie, you want to make a motion to who's the chair? Or?
Oh, I forgot about that part. I make a motion that we appoint Bill Benberry as acting chair for the interview for the Director of Informational Technologies finals.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Bonney.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. It's nice to meet you. My name is Bill Benberry. I am a selectman. We have not met prior, but I will be. We will be discussing and asking you some questions tonight. I've been a selectman in Erving for a little over 12 years, and took a year off a year ago, and have come back to continue this process of working for the community. So
All right.
it's nice to have you here. And
My name is Jackie Boyden. I'm a newly elected select board member, but I worked for the town of Erving for 27 years, and I'm on other committees, planning, recreation, senior housing. I don't think I forgot anybody, but welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you again.
Likewise.
so you met with the hiring committee, and what we're going to do today is we have 10 questions to ask you, and as you answer them to the best of your ability, you will note that we will be writing comments and addressing those questions. I may, depending on the question that's asked, Jackie may want to ask a follow-up, or I may ask a follow-up as well,
Okay.
and we'll move through that process. Do you have any questions before we start?
I don't think so. It sounds good. Thank you.
Jackie, you want to take the first?
Sure.
Okay.
So Erving is a small but supportive community. What attracted you to this opportunity with our town, and why do you believe you are the right candidate?
Well, I'm a Western Mass native. I've been coming to Irving for longer than I can remember at this point for mostly outdoor activities. I have been a systems administrator now for the city of Greenfield for quite a few years, and honestly, this is the first opportunity I've seen to lead a new position. I think it's a great choice that Irving has decided to form this role, and it wasn't an opportunity I wanted to pass up.
Mr. Levine, could you give us some general information about the town of Irving?
Certainly. I have come here quite a bit for, like I said, recreational activities. I also frequent the library. I was lucky enough to assist with teaching a computer usage class here at the library, co-sponsored by the New Salem Academy. So I've worked with the population a bit, and I'm familiar with the needs of the town. Honestly, the things I frequent most would be the library, bagels, and occasionally bowling, beyond kayaking or hiking. But, you know, having grown up in Western Mass, the Route 2 strip and all the towns involved in it are somewhat the back of my hand at this point. So that's a general gist of my knowledge of Irving. You know, I'm familiar with what was outlined in the job application and the population that you serve, the number of computers, that sort of thing. But, you know, I appreciate the I don't want to say gumption, but I see Irving doing quite a bit with what it has, and that impresses me. I see a lot of good resources in the town, and I appreciate how much its population takes part in this process.
Thank you. Question 2, if you were the successful candidate, what would be your priorities during your first 90 days and then the first 6 months?
Certainly within the first 90 days, I would really focus on meeting with department heads, seeing what was working for them, what wasn't as much, what could use improvement. I know that when you come into a place like this, you've already got quite a bit in motion. So at first, I would not want to disrupt that process. I would want to learn what was going on already, how it worked for people, and how we could strengthen that process. And then I would think, you know, in the following 90 days, start assessing an actual plan and perhaps some implementation for things that could streamline processes or make people's jobs easier. A lot of the things I do in my role currently is strengthening the knowledge base of the tools that are available and making sure that people see them as a benefit to their position, not a hindrance. So see what was already in place and see what we could improve.
Thank you.
Question 3 is briefly describe how you would build incident response, disaster recovery, and business continuity plans.
Certainly. You know, I think it's really good to have, you know, a basic 3-2-1 policy in terms of data backups. You want to make sure that your information is secure and that you have a feasible way to restore it in the event that something catastrophic would happen. So a solid backup and restore plan is good to be tested as well as just automated. So you want to be doing regular checkups to actually make sure that your data is sound. Disaster recovery goes along with that. Depending on the incident, you might be able to do a simple rollback. You might actually have to restore from an earlier snapshot, in which case you would need to assess any loss that would happen in between, you know, the period you're rolling back to versus what might have happened since the last snapshot was taken. I have worked in a couple of different scenarios where that has taken place, and it can vary depending on what the system is. So the most recent security incident that I was part of was phone systems getting compromised. In which case, it wasn't so much a data backup approach, but we were working directly with a vendor to identify where the penetration, so to speak, could come into play, and identifying which devices had been compromised and how, and making sure to reprovision them and eliminate any that were still lingering in the system. So it can vary depending on what you're working with, if it's data, if it's a public-facing system, if it's an internal system. But yeah, it's mostly based on having things well documented, having a chain of command, who responds in what order to what, to make sure that people know what their role is and how to respond as quickly and promptly as possible. And I believe that all basically intertwines with the business continuity. I don't know that I would add much more there, but it can be very different depending on the department. Some are dealing with PHI, PII, personal information. Some are dealing with financial information. Where it's something like a phone system, our top priority was representing the organization well and following up with phone carriers primarily, so that our phone lines weren't incorrectly marked as spam or malicious. So in that instance, it was largely a forward-facing project, working with third-party vendors. But really, you want to maintain the integrity of your systems and their usability for people, and make sure things aren't compromised.
As a follow-up to that question, how long did it take you to correct the problem? The phone?
Well, with the phones?
Yeah.
It was once we had identified the issue, thankfully we were able to get the problematic phones reprovisioned in the course of 36 hours tops. Unfortunately, as it was a system that we don't directly manage, a lot of that was some back and forth with the company as well. Mm-hmm. But the immediate remediation was done in under 36 hours once we were able to identify which phones and how to correct the problem.
And a follow-up to that, as far as the employees, was there anything that the employee would need to know in order to not be scammed by this phone problem?
It was more of an outward-facing issue. So people within the organization wouldn't necessarily see it. It was showing up primarily as caller ID for outward calls.
Okay.
So we did need to make staff aware of the issue. There was an increase of incoming calls. So we did have to issue a statement on what had happened, what our response was, and how to follow up if there were any further concerns. But that was mostly a public statement to people that we were corresponding with, less so internal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just have a follow-up. How did you discover it? Was it like just by happenstance, or did someone realize that something was wrong, or was it part of the routine of going through things?
There was a short span of time that we were getting reports from our own staff that they had people outside of the organization reporting that their incoming call was coming up as spam. But this happened in a very short amount of time, and we stay on top of this sort of thing pretty diligently. So, like I said, I want to say that we had identified what we saw as a root cause. We were able to put a stopgap in place and inform staff in about 36 hours.
So there were procedures in place to catch that sort of thing, so it wouldn't go on unawares because no one was checking in on it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's especially managing police, fire, dispatch in my current position. It's one of our top priorities, of course.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
Question 4. What do you think the role of a director of information technology should be in organizational and strategic planning and decision making?
Well, especially with this being a newly formed position, I see a director being a support system. Everything nowadays runs on computers, so at some level you're going to have things running through technology. So you really need a sound, a person of sound judgment and who is able to make good calls about how these things are implemented, how they're maintained, how they're passed on. It's really key to not only have something that works well for one person, but something that can be well documented and passed along. So I see this as a central point for a lot of key information and technology and usage for tools and systems in a municipality.
Thank you.
You all set? No. Okay. What is your experience complying with regulatory requirements, public sector sensitive information, and constituent services?
Well, I've had a combination in my two most recent roles. Previously, I worked for a nonprofit in healthcare, so we dealt with quite a bit of HIPAA as well as financial and union negotiation documentation. So we managed things for human resources as well as for clinicians and other programs that were being run. And in my current role, much of that is very similar, but in addition, I now support, like I said, the police, fire, dispatch, DPW. So it can vary widely by department, but I'd say that probably the most regulatory right now is the police department, where we make sure to follow CJIS guidelines and keep up with NIST best practices for security and for response. So it can vary quite a bit, but really working with a variety of different departments in municipal government, it's been pretty much all of the main things you could think of. Like I said, CJIS for police and especially following HIPAA and PII guidelines for other personal and sensitive documentation.
So just a follow-up, so do you primarily work with police, fire, and dispatch, or do you also work for the city offices?
I do both.
You do both, okay.
Yep.
So you do have interaction with the staff and the...
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the things that they might need that are sensitive.
Yes, quite a bit. I currently work very closely with the finance department and the mayor's office. We've been working on a lot of financial processes, in addition to the police side, where we handle more strict regulation and control of computer systems.
Thank you.
Yep.
Question 6. We foster a culture of safety and continuing education in the town of Erving. How do you envision interpreting and supporting individual and departmental training needs when it comes to software use, equipment, and cybersecurity?
Well, I will start with the last one first. In terms of the cybersecurity, I think it's very key to have a response plan in mind, as we discussed briefly already. That data is secure, that people know their roles, who should be keeping an eye out for what. There are times where, the user is often going to see things before even someone in IT would. So, following the see something, say something attitude or ideology, you want people to know what their roles are and what they should be keeping an eye out for and keeping a good line of communication with the departments. That's absolutely top priority, especially in something like a municipality. When it comes to individual departmental training and needs, that varies widely. Each department can often be its own organization almost, having its own needs, its own technology, its own execution of those policies. So I would think during that time where I would work with department heads, we would establish what their policies were, what their process was, and best documenting how IT assists in that process, so that if and when we need to refer to it at a later time, we have a sound idea of what the process is and how to go through it, and even how to extend that information to new people. Even if IT doesn't directly work in these other departments, we often work in a instructional role or as a stopgap to assist new people or current staff with new equipment. So it's important to have a sound understanding of the operations of the government or the body to assist with that process.
So I have a follow-up. Do you have experience with elected officials who use the technology but aren't actually employees of the town?
I do. City.
City.
Yep. We currently also support the excuse me, the town government. We actually have a separate organizational unit for the city clerks and the city government, and we support them on a Chromebook system.
All set, Bill, for the next one? All set?
Yep.
Question 7 is, do you think artificial intelligence, AI, has a place in municipal operations now or in the future? And if so, how do you envision it aiding the work?
I do, and I think to some extent it's unavoidable with the changing of times. But I also think it's very important that it be done carefully and deliberately. Right now we're at a forefront for AI where there's new features being added to things constantly without even necessarily knowing about it. And it does present a large risk for data exfiltration or security being inadvertently exposed in a way that users didn't necessarily realize. But I do see it being used in my current role already. It's certainly in place at a base level with more advanced spell correction or grammar correction. There are places where it's in use to assist with image editing or manipulation. But it's also important that the people of the town be informed and that information be transparent. People should be able to know when something has been assisted with or generated with AI. There are times where I think it makes everyone's life better. It does. But there's, just as a general topic, it can also be a security concern, and it's important to be transparent about what the sources of it really are.
Thank you.
Of course.
As a follow-up, do you see AI working as an agent in municipality as far as screening calls that may come in?
From what I have seen at this point, it's rare that you want to have AI handle the whole thing. It's fantastic at organizing information and certainly screening initial calls. But I think it's really important to still have a human in the middle when it comes to actually evaluating this information or making any authoritative calls on it. So AI is actually quite great at voice recognition, at categorizing things. There are certainly places it can be implemented in that way, but I think it's still important to have a human role in processing that data, whether that's reading a transcript or being the one to actually make the final decision. You still want a person there.
Thank you. Question number 8. What is your approach to information security?
Well, that is a very wide topic, so I'm not entirely sure the best way to answer it wholly. I think we've covered a lot of it currently. It varies definitely, like I said, based on what's being managed. If you're working with a system that's public information, accessible by the public, available to the public, your top concern is maintaining the security of the system, making sure it can't be compromised or misdirected, something like a phone system being taken advantage of, and directing your users to a malicious actor. That would be your main concern with something like that. But in terms of actually securing, the town's data and making sure that you're not easily compromised, I think really the best practice is following, like I said, a 3-2-1 strategy where you generally would have 3 different backups with 2 different types of data and one made sure to be off-site. So I think one of the growing concerns for municipalities in this day and age is cybersecurity and ransomware. And so the best thing one can do is really have your own information secure and accessible even in the event of an act of God, so to speak, any type of catastrophe. Those could be bad actors online, or that can even sometimes be servers going offline or damage to a building or other infrastructure. So making sure that all the systems are sound and that you have a response plan in place is probably one of the best things you can do.
Thank you.
Okay, question 9. How do you evaluate multiple solutions to a project to determine the best value for the town?
Yeah. I think, generally speaking, you want to assess the risk and impact of the systems and where the largest benefits can be made and what might need to wait until another time. Certainly with things like equipment procurement and replacement cycles, it's a constant process. You're constantly monitoring older systems that need to be replaced, newer ones that may still be good for a few more years. So in the best way possible, it's a bit of a juggling act to determine, what needs immediate action, what can wait, what might be good to incorporate into other projects that are going on. There are times where, if you are already constructing a new building, you want to make sure to take the time to run new lines at that same time, rather than increase costs and having to go back and do it another time. And then there's others where it might not be feasible to run new lines. You even might consider an over-the-air system or simply waiting until another year when a larger investment can be made.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Question number 10. How do you build relationships with elected officials, management, staff, and the public?
Well, I believe in being personable, approachable, friendly. It's always been my goal to make technology usable and help people see the way that it can benefit them. There's plenty of times where there's a wide variety of tools, but if people don't know how to use them or they're not comfortable using them, they might just be, an extra cost that isn't really being utilized. So I feel that it's really important to have a good connection, a good chain of communication with departments and listen to what their needs are and kindly evaluate what they're already working on and how their work process goes, because there's many times that IT can step in and assist and make it a far more simple process or more easily repeatable and documented. I have seen many times where things have been being done by hand, where we're able to automate and make everybody's lives quite a bit easier with the use of technology. So there are times too where that's not appropriate, and so knowing where IT has its strengths and its weaknesses, not everyone's going to want to do things the same way. So incorporating what works best for the staff in addition to what might work best for technology is really important.
So I have a follow-up. What do you do when you have someone who's not comfortable with technology and doesn't really want to use it, but it's required? Can you give me like a scenario on how you would handle that?
I try and wow them. I try and show them in as few steps as possible just how this can actually help. That can vary from things that don't seem that significant, honestly, from even a technical standpoint, just assisting with actual something as simple as scanning, document scanning, using a bed scanner versus a tray, knowing how to appropriately collate things, knowing how to organize or set up scan folders, and the ability to scan to email, honestly, often wows people the most, I think, if they haven't used those systems a lot. But there's also more advanced ways. We have recently worked on quite a bit of workflows in my current position, where things that were previously done on paper and passed department to department have been able to be automated through an approval workflow that goes directly from each person who's meant to sign off on it directly to the following person once the previous has acted on what they needed to do. And that's created a much more streamlined, straightforward flow of work where people are notified when they need to be included. It doesn't require as many meetings. People don't have to all come together every time. They're able to have a solid come together at the end after everybody's played their role. So really it can be based on the role that somebody plays and showing the ways that technology can assist with that.
Thank you. Oh, I have question 11.
You do.
I have the best question. Do you have any questions for us?
I do have a couple, and given that some of them were answered in the previous interview, I have been thinking a bit, and I did wonder if, does Erving currently have an AI policy?
We do not,
Not currently.
We do not.
but we're very good at creating policies.
Okay. I do see it being asked about quite a bit, so I figured I would mention it. The other thing is, certainly you've asked me how you see my role here in 90 to 60 days, but I think last time we talked, it was mentioned that there may be a new building management system on the way. Are there other similar large-scale projects you could see coming down the line for this role?
Well, I'll give an example of a large-scale project to me, and it may not be to you, but in talking to a number of departments, I hear the same thing, that we need equipment that works or needs to be repaired or is not properly functioning, a need for how to better understand how to use the equipment they have. I've heard that from a number of department heads needing assistance in not just programming, but in developing course materials for the department, or developing materials in a way that they can give to the public as well as to their employees to help in their performance of their jobs. And they don't feel quite comfortable in how to do that. And that may not necessarily be an IT issue, or at least all of that, but some of it for department heads they need that someone who can say, well, maybe this is not particularly what I believe I was hired to do, but I can guide you in developing what it is you need and instruct you on how to get there. And then leave it to them to do that. But
Certainly.
that's one example that I can think of. And I know there's plenty more, but I would say the other, for me, I know I've been scammed once in my career, my wife and I, and it actually was good enough that we turned over our computer to the individual who was asking data, and it was really good, and we believed it. And it was at a certain point in that conversation that neither of us believed it. And we knew we were being scammed, and we shut it down. And the really discouraging part about it is we got continue to get a number of calls from the individual who was actually threatening us, and then finally said, going to the police is not going to do you any good. I would not recommend doing that. And of course, you know, our response was, we're on the way to the police.
Good. Yeah.
And don't bother calling here. We're not going to use it. You're disconnected, and we'll do what we have to do in order to repair what just happened. So I to this date, I don't know if we have a system set up for our employees, a training program or process that I would like to see the IT person develop for the town of Erving that helps them through malicious calls that they might get, or requests for payments, any of those things that would alert an employee as to not answer this message,
Yeah.
go any further with it. And I think that's a real important part of IT. Is,
And I also think that to add on to that, we have a lot of elected officials that they're volunteering their time, right? But they have access to email, and there's a vulnerability there as far as the security point is.
Yeah.
And for training to happen on that level, to just teach them what to be careful of so it doesn't sound, it looks good, but it's really not good.
Yeah.
A large scale project that I have in mind is security cameras. I'm on the Recreation Commission, and we desperately need to camera our parks for public safety. But it needs to be coordinated, right? And that's a large scale project, and we have 5 parks. Yes, we have 5 parks.
Yeah.
So that would be a large scale project, you know, what type of security camera, what type of system, how does it feed, how does it get, you know, held, who monitors it, that type of thing. Not that it would be monitored all the time, but if an incident happened, we would want to go back and then see what happened, that sort of thing. So for me, that's one of the things that would be a large scale project for the town that would incorporate the IT director.
Right. Yeah.
as well as testing. Some type of program to test the employees on a daily basis.
Sure.
That they
I know,
learn
daily.
from,
It's a daily, wow.
so that we know who's not
Right.
understanding IT and the issues and problems that can result from answering a text or an email.
Certainly. Yeah.
Brian, was there anything else that you were aware of?
No, I think you've touched on some of the larger issues, but I think the salient point of what you all are talking about is that we have quite a bit of capacity with our existing technology that maybe it's not fully leveraged to really maximize efficiencies or to realize some additional benefits that could either provide more support to the staff or services to the citizens. I think in addition to that, our citizens expect, really since 2020, more services to be available online after hours. And as we move in those directions, I think sometimes it's not appreciated what it takes to support and retool your processes for that. And so we're in the midst of implementation for several different initiatives, online permitting, more online payment options. But we need to fully develop those and support the staff to make those transitions. And then once it's up and running, make sure that we're supporting the residents, the business owners in that transition as well. So all of those things I think we've grown, we have more capacity, we probably have more to launch and to investigate like you're all describing, but I think it's really to make sure that everybody feels supported in that transition.
Yeah.
Was there anything else? Any other
further
questions?
You know, I'm avoiding repeating myself from our last time, and this has been some great new information. So I really appreciate you guys having me here, and I thank you for your time, and I think that covers it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope to get back to you in the next 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours.
Okay.
And thank you for attending and applying for this position. And
Well, thank you for considering.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Have a
making
good
time.
day.
Take care.
You have a great evening.
Step back.
He's out talking to Jake.
So, Bill, what would you like to do next?
So we have no more candidates, and I have, as you have as well, looked at Mr. Bonnie's application and the process that he's gone through, and his experience and time with Greenfield as a whole. And I find that he meets all of the criteria that we've requested and posted for this position. And I would view his application favorably and would like to see him on board.
I agree. I think that he would be an asset. He's got a lot of municipal experience. He's got some experience with the financial aspects, which me being a former, principal assessor, appreciate that. A lot of juggling that goes around with all the things. I agree. I think that he would be an asset to the town of Irving.
We do have a question of salary.
So if you are looking to make an appointment tonight, an offer, we can work through that tonight. Or one of you could be designated as the person to work with me to speak to Mr. Barney and figure that out for your next meeting. How would the two of you like to proceed?
I'm fine with making it tonight.
Okay.
It'd be public regardless, so.
Okay.
It is all public.
Yeah, it is.
So
Do
yes,
you have a recommendation?
Um,
I did prepare some
Salary
potential
range?
vote language. It's in your email.
okay, right. Because I was going to say I'm a little handicapped here
okay.
because I wasn't part of.
We did list the
Yes.
position as salary. So I do have a
Okay, yep, I see it right here.
translation chart there.
Right. Oh, I updated it. You know what I don't have, Brian, is the job description.
Let me send that to you right now. Bill, do you need that as well?
Yes.
While you're sending it, can I ask why? I understand the salary option, but why would we want to go with an hourly option? Was there a reason why it was
No,
prior to the advertising?
I think the select board had that conversation when they advertised it, that they would envision the position would be salary.
Okay,
So that is the way it was, but
all right,
sometimes candidates have a preference, and so I
right.
provided you both sets of
all right.
information.
Thank you. I'm just waiting for the job description to come through.
Looks like it's sent on my side.
So I'm unable to find the
Oh, here it is.
language as well as the salary range.
Yes.
It's on, it didn't come through your email?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Oh, it's for Mr. Beverly.
I'm one of those individuals that need assistance. I'm not the most apt person when it comes to moving through the process of.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you minimize, close that for a second.
Minimize this.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Oh, this.
Set that up right now. And then scroll to the top.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be, this is the language right there.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay. Jackie, do you have any recommendations based on the?
Yeah,
Salary
just give me one more
Okay.
minute. I just want to look at, oops, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on. This is so much pressure for my second meeting.
We're just getting started.
Okay. So under the minimum qualifications, and I hope I did my math right, it says a bachelor's degree in computer science, business administration, or related fields, 7 years experience in computer systems and informational technology management, preferably in a municipal setting. I see, based on the application, that's about 6 years. Am I calculating that correctly? Oh, yeah. Approximately 5 years ago was when the candidate went directly into IT. So, based on that, I think that I would be comfortable with either the salary option, either at the 89,939, right around there, based on that there's only 5 years of work experience. Although certainly It's mostly in municipal government, which is a plus. Do you feel different?
I do feel different. I would be comfortable at an annualized rate of $92,622.40.
I'm fine with that. That was my next choice. Figured we were doing a little negotiating here, so.
Okay. And that is step.
It's F, but it's not a step, right? Because it's a salary.
It's akin to step
It's okay.
8.
It's step 8. So.
Okay, that's step 8.
Oh, I see it down here. Yep.
Okay, yep. 44.53.
All right. So I will make a motion, and I don't want to butcher your name because I'm really bad at that. Jared Barney as the Director of Informational Technology, full-time and benefited salary with a biweekly rate of $3,562.40 with a 1-year probationary period pending a pre-employment medical screening, background check, and a CORI check with a start date on or before August 15th. Does that work? Do you have
We
time?
would need at least 3 weeks.
Okay, 3 weeks. I gave you 2 and no,
Right.
August what?
But how much, and not to put you on the spot, obviously you need time to notify your current employer.
Yes.
Is 3 weeks reasonable? Is more time necessary?
I would need at least 3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so
What is 3 weeks from today?
3 weeks from today would put you at the 24th.
Do you want any days padded into that, or okay?
We can make that work.
August 24th, 2026.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anything else we need to?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
We'll get to work first thing tomorrow,
Okay.
and we'll be back in touch with all of you.
Well,
All right.
welcome to the team.
Well, he hasn't accepted yet.
Well, if you accept. He's still sitting here, so I'm hoping that's a good sign. Thank you. You're more than welcome to stay.
The chair is returning to the select board.
If Pete had stayed, I would.
All right. With that, I move we go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares, which I do so declare. New England Police Benevolent Association, Local 121. We will not return to regular session. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, so roll call. Selectperson Boyden?
Aye.
Selectman
Stanbury? Aye.
Chair Smith? Aye. Thank you all. Have a good evening. I clearly call the roll regularly.